All right, so just outside, kind of messing around on the weld machine today, kind of just running some rods and kind of just looking at different things. I got a couple different kind of brands for rod, and it kind of just brought up a thought. I was curious what you guys thought about it. Obviously, if you're not a welding business like me, where you got to buy your own consumables, wherever you're working is going to buy the rods that you need or the wire, whatever it is, and so I was curious if anyone's ever kind of put any thought into it, or if it doesn't really matter. But there's different brands for different rods, 70-18, 60-10, 80-10, hippie rod, 70-10, 80-18. All these different rods have a bunch of different brands that make the same kind of rod, or has to be within certain parameters. With each brand, though, I think it's almost kind of like a special recipe or whatever they have in their flux. Is their flux is different, or it is kind of composed of different chemicals, not exactly the same for each and every brand. And with that, I mean, they got to be within certain parameters to be called a 60-10 or a 70-18 rod. They have to be within parameters, but they can be rather large ranges. So with different brands, I was just curious, is there some brands that run better honestly than others, or has it just turned into, like everything else, just kind of a brand game? Like if it's I always feel that Excalibur 70-18 rod runs better. There's rod I got here, it's the Randor brand 70-18. It seems to run pretty good too. So it's just kind of one of those things. I don't know if it actually comes down to brand name, or if the company's been around, long enough for them to have perfected what they're doing. So obviously the larger brands make better consumables, or if it's all just because they've been around for so long, their name, you just kind of assume that they're a better rod, but it doesn't mean they actually are a better rod or worth the money, because that is the other thing about it, is buying some of the bigger brands or what's considered the nicer rods does cost more than buying some of the cheaper stuff. I got some other rod, I can't even think of the name of it, starts with an H, I'd bought, but I could probably, I can't get to it right now, but yeah, they come in like 11-pound bags instead of 10-pound cans for the rod. And so you buy a whole box instead of a 50-pound. You can buy 4 small 11-pounders that make like 44 pounds of this rod. It's cheaper and you get more rod. So I've been using it. I don't know if I like it as much, just because the slag is really kind of it seems a lot harder. It really kind of hangs on there. I can't really get the slag to curl off like I can with Excalibur. But just curious what your guys' experience are that's had more experience with running a lot of different rods. I always just kind of ran the rod that was provided for me, and it was always the same brand. Specifically 70-18 is always Excalibur. I always ran that. And yeah, I feel like it was a lot nicer rod from what I can remember. I have not bought any Excalibur rod. I should probably get around and actually do a test for you guys. But I figured it'd be a lot easier on me to ask you guys for the experience, because well, I just don't have that loose kind of change right now. It's fun just starting out as a startup weld business. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Share. Let's get a good conversation about this. Is the money worth it for bigger brand names for rod and consumables, or is it all just a brand name that's jacked up the price? All right, talk to you guys later.